Hi everyone! So today I will be doing a spoiler-free review of The Glass Bear by Lauren DeStefano. And this is the book that we included in our November Castles, Courts, and Kingdoms box, and I really enjoyed reading it, so let's get into the review. So in this book we follow a princess named Will, and she is the fourth child of a king of a very wealthy nation. Now, because she is the fourth child, she is deemed a spare child, and she doesn't really have a lot of meaning in her life. Near the beginning of this story, something very unfortunate happens, and Will discovers that she has the ability to turn living things into gemstones with her touch. Now, this ability sounds like something that might be quite useful, but in reality, she cannot touch any living human, any plant, anything without killing it immediately. When the king discovers she has this ability, she is forced to flee her kingdom, and her adventure starts from there. Now, I really enjoyed reading this book. It is definitely a page-turner. Lauren DeStefano has a way of writing characters that just really sucks you into the story. Will has three older brothers in this book, and each brother kind of represents a different faction in her life. We have Gertie, who she is closest to, who has the next youngest sibling, and he is kind of an alchemist, and Will works for him a lot of the time trying to smuggle illegal goods so he can concoct new alchemy things in the castle. And then we have her eldest brother, whose name is Owen, and he is going to be the successor to the throne. He is ambitious, but he's also very kind and just wanting to take care of his siblings and his family. And her third brother, Baron, is kind of the loose screw in the family. He's quite conniving, quite evil-seeming, and we don't get to see too much of his character in this first book, but I'm very curious to see what happens to him. I think the relationship that I appreciated the most in this book was definitely the connection between Gertie and Will. They are always there for each other, looking out for one another, and they get separated quite early in the book as she's forced to flee the kingdom, but I am so excited to see them get back together again. They have such a lovely sibling relationship, and that is something I really love to see in stories. Now, the world in this book is super interesting. This is definitely a book where I wished they had a map in the inside flap, because it is quite a vast just a vast and different world, and because Will is forced to go on this journey, she's going to different countries, different lands, she's in a ship on the ocean, she's traveling all over the place, and there's all these islands have different names, and I really wished I could just flip to the beginning of the book and see what these places looked like on paper, so I'm hoping in the sequels they do that. It's not to say that Lauren DeStefano did a bad job at explaining it, because she did. I loved the setting of this weird fantasy. It has steampunk elements, it has high fantasy elements with her gemstone magic, and it's just so fascinating. I thought it was really interesting that as you were reading this story, which feels essentially like a high fantasy novel. This is definitely not Earth. Lauren DeStefano would throw in things like telephones and cars and things that you wouldn't expect to see that different nations use. And I thought that was really interesting, because this book isn't set in any time period or any real world, so why not be able to do that with your story? I have never really seen an author do that with a high fantasy story before, and I really liked it. So on her journeys, Will also runs into a boy named Loom, who turns out to be the exiled prince of a rival kingdom. Now, all through this book, Will does not reveal who she is, so he has no idea that she is a princess to this other kingdom, and Loom wants to use her and her powers to kill Will's family. Now, when I was reading this, I was unconvinced that Loom was going to be an actual romance, but I kind of hope that he is. He is such an interesting character, being this exiled prince. He seems quite morally gray, and I just really thought he was quite interesting. I think this would be a great book for any YA fantasy lover. It really kept me on the edge of my seat, and I was so excited to get to the end. This, I believe, is going to be a trilogy, and this does end on a cliffhanger. It was a little bit painful, but it was so well done, and I think everybody should read it. Now, as you can probably tell from this review, I really enjoyed reading the story, and I am very excited for our upcoming Twitter chat with Lauren DeStefano, coming this Saturday, December 16th at 5 p.m. Pacific time. I'll leave all of the details for the Twitter chat down in the description, and I really hope you can join us. It's going to be a lot of fun. As per usual, please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Happy reading, and thanks for being awesome. Bye!